Kurt Schmidt, welcome back, my friend.
Hey, what's up, Brad? Thanks for having me.
Dude, you're probably one of the most recurring guests. Like you and Ryan Fraseri probably got to be like top three, right? Of like people who have been on the most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds
Well,
right.
I'm excited because for both of you, because we finally have stuff to talk about that you might actually enjoy or might be excited about stuff. Um, the last year or two of having you guys on hasn't been as exciting for you guys. The thing is that we met in an X-Men group. I met Ryan because he hosts a Wolverine podcast. Like, this is what we all love, is the X-Men stuff. The Avengers stuff was cool,
Yeah,
but it's like, can we get some X-Men? Can we get back to some X-Men stories? So I'm glad for you guys and for me, because I get to have you guys on a lot more now going forward, because it looks like we're starting to get into the X-Men era.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, we got this, and then we got Deadpool later this year. I don't even know. Like, there's probably some other stuff coming out. I think maybe a Spider-Man animated show, but like, they're not hyping anything else. Like, they hyped the shit out of this X-Men show, and then they are going to continue to hype Deadpool. They've been hyping it up since before there was even a movie made.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So I feel like they're reading the room a little bit. They're like, you know what? Maybe it is time to bring these X-Men in. People seem to want them. Before I tell you my thoughts, which you might already know, but what do you think so far of this return to X-Men the Animated Series with X-Men 97? This newer, updated version of it.
I think it's awesome. I think I think it's better than the original.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's amazing. I for a while now I've had very low expectations of everything,
Yeah.
and this one was really, even like, I was it took me a few days to get to watch them,
Hmm.
for a few reasons, but then I saw like a lot of like the review, well, not reviews, but like just the feedback and stuff, and I'm like,
Hmm.
really, this can't be that good. The fan,
Yeah.
and like, watching it, I was like, holy shit, it's really good. I love,
Yeah.
man, again, like, I forget what the other cartoon animated show was. Maybe it was the um whatever, What If. But like, I don't
Yeah.
know, they somehow get the animation, they capture the, like, the feeling of the old animation, but then
Hmm.
they, like, I don't know what they do. Like, there's like some like computer generated effects or some shit where
Yeah.
they speed it up or they slow it down, or I don't know what they do, but it's like, oh wow, that doesn't feel old. It feels fucking awesome.
Yeah. That the action sequences, especially, it's like,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah,
Like, this is badass. Like, it's a cartoon, and it's amping me up to watch these battle sequences.
yeah,
It's like, wow, this is awesome. The use of their powers, they just seem so much more formidable than we've ever really seen them. Like, the powers seem scary. It's like, damn, dude, like that, they're powerful. These people are powerful. Like, I understand why people fear them.
yeah, yeah. It's cool, and I like the. I feel like maybe some of the language or some of the attitudes
Uh-huh.
it's a touch more adult. It leans a little bit more adult, which I really enjoy. It makes
Yeah.
sense. I imagine most of the people watching this are adults. So
Sure.
yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I think they've definitely taken the writing in a more mature, you know, direction, because before I was talking to someone else about this, and it was kind of like X-Men the Animated Series when it was on. It was like made for kids, but adults could enjoy it, you know?
Yeah,
And this one seems more like it's made for, I wouldn't say adults, but at least older kids, right? Like young adults. Um, but kids can still watch it.
yeah,
Like it's kind of the opposite way. It's like the target audience was little kids, 6 to 10 years old, right? Now the target audience is like 12 and over, but your 6-year-old can watch it too, you know. But the themes and the just the drama and stuff, like it's more geared towards adults. Dude, it's really good. The writing is, I feel like heads and shoulders above like what it was back then. And back in the original animated series, it felt a lot more choppy, like scene and then jump to another scene and then jump to another scene. This one feels like it flows. Like, oh, we're telling a story here. Like this is great. A lot of dramatic stuff, all the soap opera-esque stuff that X-Men fans love about X-Men.
Yeah, it's really good, man. It's been like I've watched some of the old shows with our mutual friend Ryan Fraseri.
Yeah.
And you know, like after watching a one or two with him, I'd get like the urge to like want to watch the next one and want to go a little bit further.
Yeah.
But then like I don't know. I don't know that I ever felt as excited and like amped up to watch the next episode as I did finishing the first and then finishing the second one here. You know, like, and even for the movies, you know, like this stupid cartoon has me more excited to see what happens next than like I don't know, man, than any movie I think I've seen since I can't even remember what. I literally can't remember the last time I'm like maybe maybe the first Black Panther.
Yeah. I think I mean, fingers crossed, this could be the best thing we've seen in many years, and it's an animated series. And I feel like if they can take what they've captured in this series into live action, they're gonna have series success all over again, dude. Like that, if they can somehow capture whatever it is that they've done here and bring that to the big screen, I think people are gonna jump right back in, dude. I think it'll save the MCU at least for another few years.
Well, we have at least like 4 more episodes until they introduce a multiverse and ruin it all anyway. So as soon as we get like live action fucking Miss Marvel or something, I shouldn't rag on Miss Marvel. The live action fucking Nick Fury like jumping in the middle of it, or the Watcher. That's put on the tubes. As long as they could steer clear of trying to tie it into the MCU, we should be.
Yeah, I'm almost willing to bet, dude, at this point, they're almost trying to go clean slate, you know, and like it seems that way. It seems like they're not talking about anything else. Like the Kang storyline is kind of dead in the water with Jonathan Majors gone. Like I think they might be like, this kind of might be the opportunity, and we need to just take the cue from the public and like do something else, because you know they're focusing on Deadpool, they're focusing on X-Men, they're building it up. I think maybe they just, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, because as much as I hate the idea of just like pretending like a bunch of shit didn't even happen, like I'm okay with moving on right now. I really am. I'm okay with them going, well, that was the multiverse stuff. Maybe do a multiverse movie where they wrap it all up. But then after that, dude, give me a bunch of X-Men movies. Take a break from the Avengers world.
Here's a bold prediction here. They bring it into the multiverse, but they tie it in with Kelsey Grammer's Beast, and he brings in these original 5, and we get like a play on the Bendis storyline where he wants like the X-Men have gone evil, so he brings in the original 5, and it's the cartoon X-Men.
Yeah, that's a bold prediction, man. They're just gonna bring in animated characters into the. I wouldn't totally say that couldn't happen, because I feel like they've already done everything else. Like, if you're gonna bring in all the different versions of characters, you might as well bring in a couple animated ones as well. Throw them into the mix.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, yeah, but let's hop into this episode. Like, obviously you feel the same as me. The first and second episodes were just awesome, dude. And there's a new episode out tomorrow. I can't wait to watch it. Same as you. I'm like, what direction are they going here? Like, what are they going to do with this season?
I don't know. I love it. Whatever they do. I love
So
it.
good.
Yeah,
Just all the characters too, and I've talked about this in a previous episode, but like all the characters have so much more depth now. Like Cyclops is great. I love this character. Magneto is
so-
like, dude. Magneto gives this like in the first opening couple sequences, he gives this little like his dialogue is great, dude. He says, this is great. I wrote it down here. He says, the tragic fact that I did not consign those sapiens to the waste bin of history is proof of my desire to honor Charles Xavier's dream of mutant human, and then he like shudders,
yeah,
coexistence.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it feels like comic book Magneto, like these grand, like eloquent, speeches. I love it.
yeah. It's awesome. It's There's a lot of good dialogue in here.
Yeah,
Um,
it's so good from everyone, dude. Like Cyclops confronting Magneto, like
yeah,
all right, let's
yeah,
just go through it. Let's go through it. All right, because I don't want to skip anything here. The episode begins with Magneto saving the day as this Ferris wheel is going to collapse, and so the
yeah,
world sees him for the first time be heroic. And it's like, what? So not only the world seeing him do this, but the X-Men as well. They're both trying to figure out, is this dude for real? Is he really
yeah,
turning a new leaf here? Like, what's going on? And then like immediately we get another sequence. The Morlocks are back. We get to see Morlocks.
yeah,
But we didn't need a whole episode about them. I like that.
yeah,
Morlocks all right, and little bits. I like, so he saves the Morlocks from the Friends of Humanity, but to kind of prove his point that he's turning over a new leaf, he doesn't kill the bad guys. He doesn't. He just beats them up, I guess. They don't show it, but he says later that they're alive. So, what did you think of these opening sequences where like Magneto is being heroic now to prove himself?
I think it's awesome. I think it's great. I love how like they just show the Morlocks, and you don't need anything more. Like
Yeah.
they just, I don't know, either take for granted that, or you trust that
Mhm.
like you watched the last one, or like they just don't care, and it's like, yeah, if you want to know who they are, Google it. Like
Yeah.
we don't need to tell you anymore.
All you
Um,
need to know is that they're mutants and they're vulnerable, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's it. Magneto saves them.
yeah. It was it was cool, like seeing the I was surprised to see Magneto, like when the Ferris wheel's coming down. I didn't expect
Yeah.
to see him there. I expected to see the X-Men, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool. That was fun to see.
I've liked this. I've always liked the idea of Magneto as part of the X-Men coming into that role,
Yeah,
even if just temporarily, like they've done it in the comics in several different ways. My first experience with that was the Age of Apocalypse, where it's just like all of a sudden you
yeah,
jump into this. I can't remember which one it was, Amazing X-Men or Astonishing, whatever it was called. But Magneto was the leader, and Rogue was his
yeah,
lover.
yeah,
And so, I always loved that. I love the Age of Apocalypse, one of my favorite storylines. So having that, seeing Magneto in that role again, it's cool, man. I love that. I love Magneto
yeah,
having a good side. I love it.
yeah. That's the the only things I don't like about the series is like I kind of don't like the way Magneto looks. I don't like the way he's drawn. I don't know. He doesn't seem. Uh,
Yeah, we got to talk about this. His now, are they extra long gloves or is it a shoulderless sleeves? Like what?
I
What is this?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like that. Even like his skin tone seems a little weird. So does Jean's. Like Jean looks like she's pink or something. Like
Uh
she reminds me of the Russian guy from like Rambo 3 or whatever.
huh.
The but yeah, he's, I don't know. It's hard to take him seriously with that costume that he's wearing. It looks
Yeah,
good in the stills in the comics.
yeah.
Um but then watching him move with it, and like hearing him talk, I almost got to feel like I got to close my eyes because he's
Yeah.
like this singlet with the extra long gloves
Yeah.
and like
I
gigantic cape, like a cloak or whatever.
Yeah,
But
Spawn cape. Yeah, the only thing, see, I think everything works for me except for the gloves. Like it throws it all off. It's
how could you not, if you got like big ass boulder shoulders, how could you
yeah,
not show them off, right?
I get it. Okay. All right.
They, those they're like bowling balls up there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think, I mean, why did they do it? Probably just to differentiate like this version of Magneto from the classic villain costume that we know. Um, but still, you're right. It's kind of like it's a little off-putting. It's in contrast to the rest of the X-Men's clothes even.
Yeah, yeah. Which maybe that's it. Maybe that's maybe that's a little bit purposeful there too. Just
Yeah.
yeah. But
I love too that we, just like the X-Men, just like the public, we as the audience don't know if we can really trust him yet. Is he playing some sort of long game? Like,
yeah, he's not.
when does he turn? When does he fully turn back to villainous,
I don't think he's playing. I don't think he's playing a game. I think he's
Yeah.
just like he's just not all. He's not all the way invested, and that's like all the way at the end of the episode. I think you
Yeah.
see that. But
Yeah. And we may see by the end, I don't think he's going to turn villainous, but we may see him like embrace his old self, his anger towards humanity and stuff. So that's always that's a great, like, just extra thing to always have there, like this anxious feeling that Magneto could turn at any time, and he's so damn powerful, and he displayed that in this episode so well. Dude, him and Storm, so powerful in this series. Like and Magneto's power has never looked cooler, man. Like not in live action, not in the old series. Like it looks great when he pulls stuff together. When he makes that, basically him and Storm work together to make that electrified cage around the protesters. Like that was badass.
It's cool. They do a really good job too. Like the comics would, like a lot like Claremont, where he includes like in the dialogue, like where they discuss their powers. Like we get in this episode, maybe I think it's like towards the middle when they're looking for Roberto in the nightclub, and Rogue's sitting up there with Gambit, and she's like, "Oh, if one of these people just happened to touch me, I would suck up all their energy or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, man, should be so lucky," or whatever he says. But it's great. It's awesome because it's not beating you over the head with stuff, but it is they are telling you like what their powers are, their power set or something,
Yeah, and that's what Claremont would do that in every single issue. Sometimes reading it is like you got to skip over those parts. Like, okay, get to the next part. The dialogue. Like the first 3 pages of an X-Men book, it's like you can basically just read the dialogue bubbles and that's it. You don't need to read all that. But you're right. Magneto does it in the middle of the episode too, saying something like, "Oh, your electricity," something about his magnetism and electricity being closely related. And he says it in the comics all the time. Like he would say that specifically. So it's just reminding you that like, magnetism. There's a connection between electricity and magnetism, and so therefore he can do shit with electricity as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's
okay, so everybody's discussing, what are we going to do? Do we trust Magneto? The X-Men are trying to decide what they should do. Cyclops and Jean, like Cyclops decides he's not going to leave now. Like they were planning to leave the team, but he's like, no, not on my watch. This isn't happening. But Rogue kind of goes against the grain. She's the first one to speak up and be like, maybe we should give Eric a second chance. Eric. Eric. Yeah. So, just kind of a little foreshadowing for what we're going to get in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, we already talked about like the dialogue. I love the way Magneto talks. Just everything he says is like very I don't know. It's like captivating. He's like giving a speech
Yeah. Oh
every
yeah.
time he speaks.
Yeah. Right.
Um, so Scott's not buying it. He suggests that Jean read Magneto's mind, and she's like, no, because even if I did, like, I love the way they explain it away though, because that would be the easy solution, right?
Yeah.
Not only do they say like, I'm not going to do that, but because of Professor X's wishes or whatever. But then she says, even if I read his mind now, his intentions now could be
Yeah.
different tomorrow or in an hour or whatever. It was like, so it would do us no good. I
It's
love
all.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's perfect. It explains away, like it seems so easy, but then when she said
Yeah.
it, it's like, oh yeah, it's not that easy. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that you would sometimes in the comics or in the old animated series or whatever, you always want that. It's like, but why? Why wouldn't that work? Why wouldn't they just do this thing? You know what I mean? It's like, why in Lord of the Rings don't they just fly to the end, right? Or just fly to Mount Doom or whatever and fuck throw the ring. Why won't they just do that? And you
Yeah.
don't know why. They should be able to. But no, they have to trek for years through the, landscape. So that was great. Just having that an explanation and a believable one too, not just like there's a lot of times they come up with like a weird technical speak to explain shit
Yeah.
away and it's just like, oh, it's just because of this. But this actually made sense. I'm like, yeah, that's true. He could change his intentions at any time.
Yeah. Right.
So Jean's talking to Storm about the baby coming, and she's fiddling with her Marvel Girl outfit, which I thought was a nice callback and referencing the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah. Yeah. That was cool. She talks about like the last time she wore it or whatever. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and she confides in Aurora that she's worried about her baby being born a mutant, and this is great, man. This is some adult soap opera type stuff, dude. Like, I don't think we would have got that in the old series.
We won't. I don't think so either. Yeah, we wouldn't. But
Like, she's kind of secretly hoping that he's not born a mutant.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did she say? Like, how do I tell him this or whatever? Right.
Yeah.
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 That's crazy. And then to imagine, because then, imagine if she had said that to Scott or something like that. It's just like it's a deep conversation to have. It's like, oh man. And then Scott questions her, like, what do you think there's a problem with being a mutant? Like, we're mutants. Well, it just has all kind of implications. So I love that, like, deep ideas. We learned that Magneto and Rogue had some sort of secret romantic past.
Yeah.
So now, does this have some roots in comics? Because I heard someone mention like somewhere about like, oh, I hope they don't do the Rogue Magneto thing. I never liked that. Do you know of that happening in the comics ever, besides Age of Apocalypse, I guess?
That's all I really know is
Yeah.
the eclipse. But I don't. Yeah, I don't have the best memory with things.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they were referring to. But I always loved that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I don't know anymore.
So I think this is going to have some serious like uh I don't know, like it's going to affect the series in some way throughout. Obviously she doesn't want anyone to know. She says we need to keep that under the rug. Um, and then later, we even get like Gambit kind of knows something is up. Like
Yeah.
there's going to be some fallout here. There's going to be something like Gambit's going to go at Magneto. Something crazy is going to go down about that, love triangle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to end pretty, right?
No. And more drama. I love it. It's just one more. There doesn't just have to be one storyline going on. They got multiple things going on.
Dude, man, the cartoon it plays like Claremont, where
Yeah.
they are dropping seeds of storylines everywhere that we're probably never gonna see. They
Yeah.
can't possibly, like in these 2 episodes, they can't possibly touch on every little thing that they're hinting at. But it's
No,
awesome.
but I'm pretty sure it's already been approved for a season 2, though. So
Yeah.
it's like we're getting more stories. I just hope that they can flesh out the stuff they've set up.
Yeah.
You know, I think Claremont would set up so much stuff that he would actually forget about it, and then sometimes years later be like, "Oh yeah, let's play on this storyline." But I don't know. I don't know if they can afford to do that here. But I love that there's just so many different things going on at once. It's not like one tone, one note story. It's like we got the Gambit, Magneto thing, the Magneto Rogue thing. We got Jean and Scott with a new baby. We've got Roberto. Sunspots like out there. Is he going to join the team? Like, you know, Ms. Magneto, good or bad? Like, I mean, we haven't even had any Wolverine drama yet.
Yeah. Oh, Wolverine. I love, man, Wolverine's just like they kept his character the same. I think to jump a little bit further, we have I forget where it comes in. Right around this time in the episode is when the chopper comes in.
Oh,
and they all rush outside, and Cyclops has got to like school Magneto or whatever. Like, hey, we gotta relax. These are the good guys or whatever. And then they have their little discussion. Magneto goes, they want to arrest Magneto. He man, like poetically says, like, okay, will you give me a fair trial? And if I win, will you trust me? Like,
right.
So he surrenders himself. And then I think the very next scene, it's like my favorite line in both these episodes. Like the Wolverine's watching TV.
Yes.
He and says something. We're like, where is everybody? And he's like, they're watching over Magneto. Oh, nobody told me. And he's like, yeah, that's going around, right? But then she shouts, he's here. And Wolverine jumps out, claws like, who? Apocalypse?
Yeah, it's so random. Why Apocalypse?
Oh my god, it's awesome.
I know.
Ashton just sat down with me watching it, and he starts laughing out loud. It was great. It was so funny.
Yeah.
It was hysterical. It's, oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for a X-Men cartoon. Like, I'm sorry, I could watch all 5 seasons of the original show and not laugh one time, not wholeheartedly laugh. Yeah, you know what I mean? But that actually brought it out. Like, that was hilarious. I love that.
yeah, that was really good. And then
I definitely had that in my notes too.
Yeah, that was awesome. He drives, and then I love, like, he pulls off the street. Like, he's so violent, man. He just wants to mow people over. Like, the street was empty, and he's just like, he pulls up to the sidewalk. He's like, out of my way. Yeah. If Jean could have moved the people, he was just gonna run them down. All I can think of is like the original series where he pulls out his claws to like start slicing up police officers on his
Yeah.
He just wants
to. Dude, he's great. I love it though, because they really did capture Wolverine, like comic Wolverine, as a member of the X-Men here, because as you know, I'm reading through the Claremont run right now, and that's just his character, dude. Any instance he can, he's like, we should kill him. Like, every time they're like, we got to bring this guy down. He's like, or we could just slice him up. Like, every time, that's his solution. And 9 times out of 10, you're like, dude, that would be a much quicker solution to this. They could save the world by just killing Magneto right now.
Yeah.
Wolverine's right, man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's like my favorite scene in this show, in this episode at least.
Yeah. So I love that. I also love too, you kind of skimmed past it, but before Magneto agrees to give himself over, he pulls the helicopter. They're like, we have, our equipment is not metal, so you can't manipulate any of our weapons or anything. And he turns the chopper sideways with like the blades coming towards them. Dude, that was so cool. I just love how they're having people use their powers in this. So, and especially when Wolverine gets Jean to the hospital and they say, we're not doing mutant births here. We don't do mutant births. And he's like, I'll show you a C-section, bub. That was good. But then the fact that Rogue then uses her power to absorb the Doctor's expertise.
Yeah.
That was a new thing. And I don't know if it had been done in the comics, but it definitely was never done in this show before, where she absorbed just some knowledge from a human. That was awesome.
That was really cool. And it's awesome, like, again, like with the dialogue where he like explains it, just, and it's perfectly natural, where he's like, hey, can you use your power to do this?
Yeah.
And and then you see it happen. It's great. Yeah.
I thought that was so smart. Like, we've seen that throughout these 2 episodes too, people using their powers in ways we hadn't seen, right?
Yeah.
Cyclops, when he controls his descent as he's falling from that from the Blackbird, and he shoots at the ground for a soft landing. Oh, dude, it caught me by surprise, and I was like, yes, he would do that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, dude. So great. Okay, so we're at the trial of Magneto. It's not looking good, but he's giving like a pretty good defense, I guess. But the protest that's outside suddenly turns into more of a riot, and Executioner shows up. So I don't think we've ever seen that character in the series, right? He's a straight comic book character. Wasn't there like a Executioner's song? Isn't that like a storyline?
Yeah, that is.
So
I don't know much about. I don't remember. I remember it, but I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, I think that was probably like 90s, right?
Yeah,
maybe late 80s. No, I think it was 90s. Yeah,
90s. Yeah.
So I had never read any of that. I'm sure I'll get there in a couple years, but I love that I got to be introduced to a new character. And he's got this weapon that we end up finding out what it actually does. But he's there to assassinate Magneto, I guess, or render him powerless, or whatever he's going to do. But he's there to take Magneto out for his crimes. So clearly he's a kind of a human rights activist, right? He wants to get rid of the mutant. And he goes in. The protest turns into a riot. The X-Men, they're like, all right, we got to protect the court. We got to protect Magneto. We got to shut this riot down. But Executioner is there. I love Bishop too in this series, dude. Like, his powers are being used really well as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Bishop looks good. He looks good. He looks good too. I like they updated him a little bit.
They got rid of the mullet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, I dig it. Everyone using their power. I would say, except Jubilee's still kind of useless in the series. Like, she used her power at the dance club, I guess a little bit, but
she's awesome. She's
okay.
Ball court with her powers.
Okay, all right. I just bring in Dazzler. Dazzler should have been at that club, dude.
You're not going to hear any argument from me. I love Dazzler.
She should have been at that club. Yeah. So yeah, protest becomes a riot. Executioner goes in, starts fighting the X-Men. Fantastic battle, just like in the last episode when they fought the Sentinels. Like, the action is phenomenal, dude. Like, some of the best action I've seen in animation, period. The only thing I would say was close or equal to is like when you watch some badass like Japanese anime, like animation. Some of that like action sequences are really good, but like this was good, man. It was awesome them fighting him. And like I said earlier, the Magneto working with Storm to create a cage around the protesters, that was badass.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, where are we at here? Doctor, we already did that. Executioner blasts Storm.
Yeah.
She falls to the ground and she's like, I don't have any power. What the heck's going on? And then Magneto gets real, dude. Like, you're like, okay, here's the real Magneto. He's coming out. And he has this whole speech, and you think it's going to go bad. Like, he's got this whole speech of like, you ingrates, this is what you did. You lured us here to do this on purpose. He blamed the court for what was going on. And then he's about to kill Executioner. And then like, he's like, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold true to Charles' dream.
Yeah.
And stand for human mutant, you know, coexistence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sure.
really kind of proving himself here. And I guess that's enough then for the court to pardon him, right?
Yeah, sure, because they're all just full of shit. They're all just full of their own shit.
It's
This
true.
is where Magneto, like you could see right here, man. Yoda said like do or do not. There is no try. Fuck
Yeah.
like, Magneto says I'm trying to be better. Fuck yeah, you're already defeated. You're already
Yeah.
defeated. You're trying to do. Does when you go to the Olympics, do you try to win a gold medal or do you win a gold fucking medal? Anyone that
Right.
tries fucking losing because they're halfway in.
Yeah.
He's already lost, and then he's
So
like, he's
is that
he's a fucking abuser too because he's like, please don't make me let you down. Like,
yeah.
just fucking just be better. Like, oh, don't make me hit you. Don't make me hit
Yeah.
you. Like, what? Come on. I love it though because the writing's on the wall. Like he can't help himself. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, eventually he will break. Eventually he will. He always does. He always goes back to himself.
He does.
So is that what you meant earlier when you said that he kind of shows his hand and like, you know, that he's not all the way in?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's it, man. When you try to do anything, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Right on. Yeah, the motivational speaker Kurt has arrived. There is no try. You either do or you don't do. Listen.
That's it, man. I'd love to take credit for it. It's Yoda.
You're already defeated, all right? You're already defeated, man. If you say you're going to try, you've already failed.
Yeah, you might as well not even don't even bother. Don't
Yeah.
even bother.
All right, so we get Jean and Scott decide to name their baby Nathan. Big surprise, right? You know, spoilers for anyone else. I don't know if they revealed it in the series. I don't think they ever did, that their child grows up to be Cable in the future, Nathan Summers. So I don't think they ever came to that yet in the series, like admitted that. Like he didn't tell them that. So it's just cool to see that, like, on the show, like the beginnings of like, oh, this is Cable when Cable was born. But okay, so the World Court, like the UN pardons Magneto and admits Genosha into the UN, which was pretty cool. I didn't expect that. That was pretty neat. Like, oh, Genosha's like a recognized nation now and part of the UN.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then Jean and Scott decide they are going to leave. But then when they find out that Storm's powers are probably gone forever and she's going through a hard time, Jean's like, no, we should probably stay. But then Aurora says, no, I'll just leave. So I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. I think, like, are they going to leave or are they not? I feel like I don't know. I feel like with what happens at the end, they've got to stick around because we've got to like see all this drama play out, right?
Yeah.
So, but before we get to that though, which was the huge revelation that I'm sure anyone who hasn't read any comics like are completely baffled by, like what the hell's going on here until they talk to their comic book friends. We get Magneto and Rogue touching hands, so we're like, oh, they're able to touch each other for some reason. I don't know how that works or why it works that way for those two, but that's cool. I mean, that tells us that they were probably knocking boots, right? Like they were really together.
I just think I don't know about the comics, but I remember like the first X-Men movie, Rogue's got that white streak in her hair because she sucked Eric's powers or whatever. So I just like, since she sucked them once, she's already got them in her, and like she's expected.
Dude, I'm not even gonna touch it. Since she sucked him once, she's already got him in her. So, Oh, okay. All right. We're gonna go. All right. So Gambit overhears this though. He sees what's going on. Definitely has it in for Magneto now. Like I feel like that's really gonna. Like, we talked about it earlier. Like that's gonna be a serious conflict going forward. Is Gambit versus Magneto.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he already like immediately was like, "Well, it's your fault that this happened to Storm because that shot was meant for you." Like he hates this guy now, like
Yeah.
more than anyone.
Yeah, and I like that you see that, like in the dialogue or when they're watching the court unfold, Gambit's sitting next to Rogue and he makes a little comment like, "Oh, it doesn't seem like it's going in his favor. What a shame," or something
Yeah,
like that. It's cool because you're building up, you know, that animosity there, and then like the drama between
yeah,
the two of them. It's cool. Like I went into this thinking like maybe you see like the classic trouble stuff with Scott and Logan and Jean.
yeah.
I wasn't expecting this one. That's
Yeah, yeah, and with what happens here at the end, dude, I don't even think they're going to focus at all on the Wolverine,
yeah,
being in love with Jean stuff. Um, I think we kind of saw it at the very beginning when he found out that she was going to leave and stuff. He was upset, but I think now that we've got this drama going on, they're not going to put too much time into the Wolverine, Scott Jean throuple. I don't think
yeah,
that's going to be like. I think we're going to be focused on this other Jean that just showed up at the door like pleading for help from the X-Men. So like an exact replica of Jean shows up. Who's the real Jean, man? Like, is this the real Jean at the door?
yeah,
Is Cyclops's baby's mom not really Jean? This is wild. And that, they could change it from what the comics did too, just to throw people off. You never know.
yeah, right.
Maybe they'll switch it up. But in the comics, right, there's Madeline Pryor,
Yeah,
who is a Jean clone, correct?
I believe so.
Clone of Jean Grey. And I don't know if it was retconned or what, but eventually they end up saying that she was actually the mother of Cable.
Yeah,
So that would then lead us to believe then that the one that's been living with the X-Men here, the one that had a baby with Scott, is actually the clone. And the one at the door is probably the real Jean Grey. Maybe they do it just like the comics retconned it and have the one that showed up at the door be like, "I've been stuck under the lake all this time since the Phoenix."
yeah. I That's the way I kind of felt like it would go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drama, dude.
Yeah, I know my kid was really confused at the end. He's like, "Wait, I'm confused. I don't get it. I thought
Yeah.
Jean was behind Cyclops there." And I'm like, "Yeah, and she's at
Yep.
the door." Like,
Yeah.
you're just as confused as I am, son.
Yeah. Exactly. You're supposed to be confused. That was the whole point of the end of this episode. I love that, dude. They're building drama though. Both episodes ended with a cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
The only difference was you got to immediately find out, from one episode to the next. But this one, you're like, you got to wait a whole week. Oh,
Dude, when the episode ended, he's in like it showed up the first two. He's like, "Oh, what the heck? We gotta wait." And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, we at least have to wait just till tomorrow because we watched it. He
yeah.
watched it today. Yeah.
Well, dude, I think it's safe to say that we're both loving this series even more than we anticipated. I was pumped for it since I heard about it. I know Fraseri was pumped about it, but there's still always that like you're hoping they don't mess it up,
Oh, yeah.
And so far they've went above and beyond. Dude, do you know this has a perfect Rotten Tomatoes score? An X-Men cartoon series.
Yeah.
Everyone loved it.
I saw that. I guess that's a big deal. I don't really know, but I guess it's a big deal.
I think perfect is a big deal. Getting all the critics to agree on anything is like
perfect. Yeah, perfect anything would be a big deal. Yeah, that's
because there's always going to be Kurt Schmidt's in the room. There's always going to be the naysayer, the guy who wants to be the guy who goes against the grain and says he hates the stuff everyone else likes. But even you're in. This shows me that it's true. You're in on this too. You love it.
I when I gotta like my only complaint is somebody's skin tone.
Yeah, and Magneto's outfit could be better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's man. I got no complaints. The show is awesome. I'm looking forward to where it goes.
yeah, I'm glad to hear you. I'm like happy to hear you excited about technically MCU content, right? Marvel Studios content. But thank you, dude, again so much for being here late night, and I hope to have you on again. There's plenty more episodes to come. You know, there's 7, 8 more episodes to come. So hopefully I can have you back again. I like getting the X-Men fans on because I feel like they have a little bit more insight and they're just more geeked than anyone else about this being so good.
Yeah. I'd love to be back on again, man. It was fun to talk about something good for a change. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I loved it. You loved it. All the critics love it. I'm just waiting. There's got to be somebody out there that doesn't like it, right?
I saw a couple people in the XCast group that were talking shit about it. And
but
that was before I saw anything else, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I knew this thing was gonna be trash. I knew they would fuck it up, and then then I saw everything else. I'm like, oh, those people are the outliers.
Yeah. It's great, man.
It's awesome.
All right. Well, I will let you go. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to talk to you again real soon, dude.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Later, man.
Bye.